ஒரு கருவி எதுன்னா அது வந்து எஜுகேஷன். எஜுகேஷன் தான் வந்து ஒவ்வொரு மாணவனுக்கும் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். இது இளைஞர்களுக்கு சொல்றேன், காம்படிட்டிவ் வேர்ல்டு, காம்படிட்டிவ் வேர்ல்டுல தனியா தெரியணும்னா கொஞ்சம் எஃபர்ட் போடும். ஒரு மனிதன் உயிரே செல்ல 1000 பேர் பார்ப்போம். கூட்டத்தோடு நடந்து கூட யாரும் பார்க்க மாட்டாங்க. உயிரே செல்ல 1000 பேர் பார்ப்போம். அந்த 1000 பேர் பார்க்கிற போது நீ வந்து தனியாளா உன்னுடைய ஸ்கில்ல டெவலப்மெண்ட்லாம் பெரிய ஆளா இருக்கலாம் அப்படின்னு எல்லாரும் பேசுறதுனால நீ தயார் பண்ணி முக்கியமா. அதே மாதிரி வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா எஜுகேஷன் சிஸ்டம் வந்து எஜுகேஷன் பாத்தீங்கன்னா வாய்ப்பே கிடையாது. நான் படிச்ச காலத்துல பிஜி படிக்க முடியுமா, எம்பெட் படிக்க வாய்ப்பே இல்லை. ஆனா இருந்தாலும் எப்படின்னா அந்த ஒரு ஆர்வம், ஒரு தூண்டுதல், சப்போர்ட்டபிளா இருப்பாங்க. நிறைய பேர் மேலப்படி சப்போர்ட் இருப்பாங்க. நம்ம எவ்வளவு வேணா படிக்கலாம், ஆனா ஹெல்ப் பண்றதுக்கும் சப்போர்ட் பண்றதுக்கு ஆள் வேணும். எவ்வளவு வேணா படிச்சிருக்கலாம், என்ன பண்ணால கோஆபரேஷன் கோஆர்டினேஷன் வைக்கணும். அதனால என்ன குரூப் ஸ்டடி போட்டு படிச்சு ஒரு சீனியர் பர்சன் நிறைய சக்சஸ் கேட்டு இளைஞர்கள்லாம் ரொம்ப ஒரு ஈஸியான மெட்டீரியல். நாங்க படிக்கும் போது மெட்டீரியல்ஸ் கிடையாது. எவரிதிங் இந்த நெட், என்ன மெட்டீரியல் நெட்ல இருக்கு, எல்லாமே வந்து இன்டர்நெட், எல்லாம் ஈஸியோர்ஸஸ் இருந்துச்சு. ஆனால் நீங்க ஏகப்பட்ட ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டிஸ் இருக்கு. ஓன் ஸ்கில்ல அதே மாதிரி அதனால வந்து 2 நினைப்பாங்க. அந்த எப்பொருள் யார் வாய்க்கு இருக்கணும், மெய்ப்பொருள் காண்பது அறிவு அப்படின்னு ஒரு திருக்குறள். நான் படிக்கிறது தெரியல, எனக்கு அப்பெல்லாம் தெரியாது. இப்ப இதெல்லாம் என்னன்னா அவங்க இளைஞர்களுக்காக சொல்றேன், யார் எதை சொன்னாலும் உண்மைத்தன்மை அறிஞ்சுதான் நீங்க எங்க சொசைட்டில பேசணும். அதே மாதிரி எனக்கு தெரியும்னு சொல்லி ஸ்டூடெண்ட் எங்கேயும் பேசிடக்கூடாது. எந்த எதுலையும் இன்வால்வ் ஆகிடக்கூடாது. ஸ்டூடெண்ட் வந்து ஸ்டூடெண்ட்னா ஆல்வேஸ் ஸ்டூடெண்டா தான் இருக்கும். எங்கேயுமே எதுலையும் இன்வால்வ் ஆகக்கூடாது. சொசைட்டில ஒரு கிரைசிஸ் தான் நீ இன்வால்வ் ஆகக்கூடாது. எங்கேயுமே இன்வால்வ் ஆகக்கூடாது. நம்மளுடைய இலக்கு வந்து எஜுகேஷன். நாம் எப்படி காம்படிட்டிவ், ஏன்னா ஸ்டூடெண்ட் தான் இன்னைக்கு சமுதாயத்துக்கு வந்து முதுகெலும்பு. நான் ஏன் சொல்றேன்னா ஸ்டூடெண்ட் என்ன சொல்றாங்கன்னா, ஸ்டூடெண்ட் விட்டுறப்பா, என்ன தப்பு பண்ணி கூட என்ன பண்ணுவாங்கன்னா, ஸ்டூடெண்ட் விட்டுருங்க. போலீஸ் ஸ்டேஷன் போனாங்க, என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க, போலீஸ் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் எடுத்துன்னு சொல்லுவோம். பெரிய தப்பு பண்ணியிருந்தா கூட ஸ்டூடெண்ட் சார் அப்படிதான் இருப்பான், பாத்துக்கிறதுக்கு கரெக்டா இருந்துக்கான்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. அதனால நம்ம என்ன பண்ணோம்னா உண்மை தன்மை அறிந்துதான் எங்கேயுமே பேசணும். அதே மாதிரி கடைசியா அந்த பாரதியார் சொன்ன வரிகள் வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, செய்வது நல்லதெனில் சிறியதாயினும் செய்க, செய்யாதிருத்தல் பெரிதெனும் செய்ய. நம்மளால முடிஞ்சா ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுங்க. ஹெல்ப் பண்ணாம இருந்தால் அதை பண்ண முடியாது, ஹெல்ப் பண்ணக்கூடாது, ஹெல்ப் பண்ண முடியாது. நம்மளால என்ன முடியுமோ அந்த ஹெல்ப் பண்ணணும். பண்ணாம இருக்கிறது ரொம்ப தப்பு. ஒருத்தர் ஒரு சார் வந்து எனக்கு சிஏஎஸ் வேணும் சார் ஏதாச்சும் பண்ணீங்கன்னா, அவர் உண்மையிலுமே சிஏஎஸ் எலிஜிபிளா இருந்து என்ன பண்ணோம்னா அவருக்கு வந்து என்ன பண்ணா இன்னும் 4 பேர் சேர்த்து அந்த மொத்தம் ஒரு 4 டிபார்ட்மெண்ட் சேர்த்து ஒரு அப்ளிகேஷன் வாங்கி சிஏஎஸ் சொல்லணும். அந்த மாதிரி ஆக்டிவேஷன் பண்ணணும். அது செய்யாம இல்லப்பா வேண்டாம் கூட எல்லாம் விட்டுறது, செய்ய முடியறது செய்யாம இருக்கிறது பெரும் தீமை. அதெல்லாம் வந்து இளைஞர்களை மனசுல வச்சு ஒரு நல்லதே நினைச்சு பாசிட்டிவா பண்ணலாம். அதே மாதிரி இந்த துறைக்கு வந்து ஒரு நல்ல நேம் வாங்கிருக்கேன். வெரி ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் நான் விசிட்டர் வந்து 10 days ஆயிருக்கேன். இந்த 10 daysல இந்த டிபார்ட்மெண்ட் தான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் மீட்டிங் வந்து ஒரு மகிழ்ச்சி. ஆட்சிக்குழு சார்பாகவும் முன்னாள் பணியாளர்கள் சார்பாகவும் மனமாற வாழ்க்கிறேன். நீங்க ஃபியூச்சர்ல வந்து மிகப்பெரிய வாய்ப்பு. நன்றி. நன்றி.
Our heartfelt thanks to Professor Registered Dr. R. Rajavel sir for delivering such an inspiring inaugural address. Your thoughtful words have set a remarkable tone for our journey ahead, and we are truly grateful for your contribution, sir. We kindly request our respected Professor Dr. Rupa Grasili ma'am, Director in Charge, BSMED, to present sir with a memento as a token of honor. Now we extend a warm welcome to our Professor Dr. Rupa Grasili ma'am, who is a distinguished academician and administrator with over 27 years of experience in the education sector. She formerly served as the registrar in charge, and her professional journey also includes key leadership roles such as Director in Charge and Professor at the School of Management and Entrepreneur Development. Professor Dr. Rupa Gunasili Ma'am's expertise lies in organizational development, talent management, skill development, and innovation management. As a prolific researcher, Ma'am has 45 international and 20 national research publications and has guided 28 PhD students in completion. Beyond her university duties, she holds several advisory and committee positions, including a seat on the planning board of Bharathair University. Her profile also highlights her role as a keynote speaker at numerous national and international conferences. So please join us in extending a heartfelt welcome to Ma'am for her presidential address.
Most respected registrar of our esteemed university, the chief guest of the day, Dr. Vivek, our senior mentor, Professor Ramakrishnan, sir, faculty members, research scholars, students present, as well as senior students, alumni members. Very warm good morning to one and all present here. Good morning. It gives me immense pleasure to stand before you to preside over this wonderful event, the orientation program of 42nd batch of MBA. எண்ணி துணித கருமம் துணிந்த பின் எண்ணுவம் என்பதெழுக்கு என்ற திருவள்ளுவர் ஐயன் திருவள்ளுவரின் திருக்குறளுக்கு இணங்க our first year students have chosen BSMED Bharathair University as their destination to do their business education. Good wishes to each one of you. Today, BSMED is brimming in bliss with its 42nd batch of students. We are in the business of making business warriors.
Yes. When I say warriors, we are in the making of business warriors. They are tenacious, courageous, aggressive, and their mindset is fit enough to navigate and succeed in any kind of business weather. With these words, I am very much happy to have our registrar Rajavelu sir here as our inaugural address guest. Sir, your speech inspired us. It was simple, but it touched the heart of each and every one. Words given by our registrar are precious gems. You cannot finish a PhD degree in 2.5 years, which is a miracle as far as people like us who are in research for a long time. We know that it is very difficult to finish PhD, a degree of highest echelon. It is very difficult to finish in 2.5, 3 years and all. Marvelous, sir. Our heartfelt congratulations. It shows the involvement of a personality in the pursuit which they commit to. Sir, your words truly encouraged us. The very word you uttered when I started conversing with you after you entering these premises, we are interested to give you more facilities. You ask anything, whatever I could do in my tenure, I will provide and see that you people are happy here. Thank you very much, sir, for the wonderful words you have given to us. I am thrilled by the presence of Dr. Vivek Manohar. I should see the connect, or I should tell about the connect we have with Dr. Vivek Manohar. It is not a journey that is going to start and stop here. We have a long plan and we have a long way to go. When I say this, I mean a lot. We are already in MOU with, Memorandum of Understanding with South Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industries, Chennai. So we have committed to, we are much committed to create a startup ecosystem, incubation ecosystem, and also business ecosystem in Bharathair University, and not only in Bharathair University, it is going to act as hub for the whole Coimbatore. So this already it started. We have started doing it. And the first and foremost guest, as a member guest to our orientation program is Dr. Vivek Manoharan, sir. And he was also accompanying
on the other session. I'll very quickly touch and go a few points which I have to give as an inaugural address for you MBA students who I'm very jealous of. First, taking a step first into your entrepreneurial intrapreneurship business or whatever corporate journey. So I want to ask you, 3 questions. These are the litmus test questions, and of course you can raise your hands and just to help me understand so that I can calibrate my talk and thoughts very well. Okay. So apart from amazing people here, Rajaveer sir, Rupa ma'am, and amazing faculties here, there are 2 other people right here in this hall whom you should know. Okay. Can you see Adam Smith there? Adam Smith and Peter Drucker. How many of you know their names? Before this, of course, now you know the names. Before this, how many of you know their names? Peter Drucker and Adam Smith. Adam Smith? Okay. Peter Drucker? All right. Good litmus test. Guys, at least from now, because Adam Smith has undue influence. I'm a biomedical engineer. I do intense science and engineering. If you look at my papers, right, it's about cutting dead bodies and studying inside dead bodies using technology. Very complex engineering, but I still know Adam Smith and Peter Drucker because they have undue influence on business and entrepreneurship, and you should know them way better. Okay. My second litmus test question. Okay. What do people call as 3 eyes of India? 3 eyes of India. How many of you know? Ma'am told we should be a warriors, right? And I'll tell you how was this connected with the warrior question. 3 eyes of India. When I say I, not this I. Okay, when I say 3 eyes of India, like the I, what does come to your mind? Anyone? 3 eyes of India. Okay, hint is it's an educational institution. It's in Madras. It's in Guindy. IIT, yes. What's the other eye? IIM. The last eye? IISc. Okay. When ma'am said warriors, see, I am someone who was born in Coimbatore. I went to Salem for my undergraduate degree, and then I went to Singapore to NUS. So the warrior part is real because in the current India we are in the current world we are in, okay, there's something called elitism. Have you heard about elitism? And elitism, especially for someone who's from Coimbatore, is real. That means we face opposition from these 3 eyes of India. If you look at startup funding or management, corporate responsibility or any thing, don't you feel, and of course the faculty members might know the statistics here, and it is true, that these 3 eyes of India or the whatever is slightly below 3 eyes have undue influence. The corporate leadership, etc., etc. Whenever you go to any corporate board, it'll be like, I am ABC. I am ABC, right? Like not ABC juice. It was very funny. Even though there's a juice called ABC, I am ABC is where. So this elitism is something you have to face, and like ma'am rightly pointed out, warriors is what you should be, and warriors are what we are all are. From tier 1 to tier 2 to tier 3. We'll have to fight our way up, and you should be ready for it. And for that, the first and foremost thing is, if you know Adam Smith and Peter Drucker, things are easy. Okay, because people who they also don't know Adam Smith and Peter Drucker, and they're just pretending they know. Okay, that's something which I want to really emphasize. Okay, now coming to the third and final litmus test question, which I want to really, I know there are some international students present here, but as my ChatGPT generated biography said, I worked with tuberculosis and healthcare sector previously before I moved into strategy. I worked with tuberculosis before. Okay. And tuberculosis showed me something very interesting about India and also African, the continent as well. Okay, I'll ask you a very simple question. Okay, for MBA students, your seniors also can answer the question. Okay, when you define a middle class in India, let's not go to the world now. Let's go in India. When you define a middle class in India, what do you think is their average monthly income for a middle class in India? Seniors also can answer this question. Average monthly income of a middle class in India. Okay, let me put it even more statistically correct. Okay, average may be wrong. Let's put it median. You understand the difference between average and median, right? Median income versus average income. Okay, if not, please understand. Sometimes median is the more good scale for you to evaluate. Okay, what is the median income for a average middle class household in India? 40,000. Okay. Just throw out numbers, it's okay. Even I didn't know this before I worked with tuberculosis. I thought with all the ads and fancy influences, I thought Indian middle class is way richer. But you'll be shocked to find the real number. 40,000 is one number. Any other students?
The cross verification, up to 12 lakhs, no tax.
Okay. That is called political middle class definition, but let's go with it. Okay, 40. Any other numbers? 25, okay. 30. Wow. Okay, someone was working with TV. One thing I understood how poor India is. If you're earning 10,000 and above in India, 10,000 rupees per month, you are in the top 10%. Okay? The interesting statistics, this is real, and if you see Anand Srinivasan sir and others, they'll all be telling the statistics every day. Okay? If you're earning below 10,000 per month, you're in the bottom 90% of India. To put it shockingly, for all MBA students and the marketing students who are studying this, okay, AI, I'm also doing AI, I'll talk about it very briefly. We are an economy where 90% of India is earning less than 10K. Okay? But why do you think people are talking about middle class and people are talking about consumerism, India's burgeoning economy, consumerism, etc., because that 10% of 1.4 billion is 140 million. Okay, and that is significant enough to push every economy forward. Okay, and that is why you should read Adam Smith and Peter Drucker to understand this completely. Okay, and understanding this will give you that warrior edge against the three eyes of India. Because I can honestly tell you, someone has been from Coimbatore to NUS, and I'm now working with IIM very close. IIM Kolkata is very close friend of ours, working very closely. This mindset of practicality and pragmatism is not there in tier 1 cities of India. They see India as that 150 million. Okay, tier 2 and tier 3 are where we have basic pain, and others where we see the bottom 90%. That is 1 billion people. Not even 1 billion, 1.2 billion people is where we have to serve and take management and innovation to. That is something I want you to understand. All right. Okay. So these three are the litmus test questions, which will also help you understand what you're preparing for. Okay. Now let me come to one very open topic we all have to discuss about. Of course, I'll discuss in detail in my next session as well. AI, artificial intelligence. Okay, I am the person who's stealing jobs. I am the person who's developing technology that is replacing most of your jobs. Okay, and you'll understand why in my next session. Okay, so what we do is we do AI-powered computer vision. Oli retail. Oli is Tamil name. In Tamil, Oli means light and sound. So that's why we call it Oli. Very interestingly, we are across Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and France. Oli has interesting words in every language. There's a French Oli, there's a Singaporean Oli, there's a Malaysian Oli. That's a very common positive word. That's why we kept Oli. But it's a Tamil origin word because we are from Coimbatore and we want to do that. So what we do is, imagine a CCTV camera here. It's not here, but imagine a CCTV camera here. We run your images and we do AI processing on top of it. It will tell how many of you are looking at me, how many of you are drooping, how many of you are not listening, etc., etc. So imagine a CCTV camera, normal camera acts like a teacher, professor, supervisor, security guard, etc., etc. That's what we are doing, and that's what our technology is about, which we will explain to you further. Okay. So AI is something which is having undue influence in your current work. Okay. You can hear me, right? Okay. Anyways, time is less. Okay. So, thank you very much. Thank you. Sorry about that. So, this AI part is something I'll definitely cover in my forthcoming sessions. Okay. But I wanted to very briefly tell you a brief comparison of what AI is happening now. In fact, my session was supposed to be called AI, the good, bad, ugly, because I'm AK fan as well. So the good, bad nonsense of AI is what my topic of the talk is. But I'll tell you why. Because I'm an AI, I understand the good, bad, and the nonsense as well. Okay, and I'll tell you why. There's a perspective you should understand, especially from a tier 2 city. Tier 1.5, some real estate might call it, but I still call Coimbatore tier 2. Okay, from tier 2 city and this ambience, what is the important thing you have to understand? So I'll tell you my story very briefly, and then you'll understand what is the strategic, case study here. Okay, I am from Coimbatore. 1984, they told me is where you are being. My day of birth is 1988, so I'm slightly younger than your institution. So I went to Singapore back in 2005. A Coimbatore guy who has been only in Coimbatore, going to Singapore is a big deal for me because cultural shock, etc., etc. Okay. One thing I've always heard about is Starbucks coffee. 2005. This is back in 2005. Okay, Starbucks coffee. I always wanted to go and have Starbucks coffee because it's a cool thing, na. Once you're in a foreign country, Starbucks, McDonald's, things you want to take a picture and then send it back home. I did the same. I went to Starbucks coffee in Jurong Point in Singapore. It was near NTU Singapore. Very interestingly, I didn't know any menu because to me coffee means there'll be coffee, and I went to the barista there. They call it the barista. We call them server, etc., but they call them barista. Went to the barista there and asked her, can I get a hot coffee? Okay. And she gave me that look. Okay. Very interestingly, she showed me the board. Okay. I'll tell you in India it's different, but in Singapore and other Starbucks, if you see the menu, there will not be a word called coffee. It'll be called mocha, cappuccino, latte, frappe. Okay, and it's a cool thing, ordering in a Starbucks itself is a YouTube tutorial. There are YouTube tutorials on how do you order in Starbucks. So how do you order Macca, how do you order Americano, Macho, Cappuccino, coffee, etc., etc. To make you feel posh. When Starbucks came to Coimbatore, right, everyone were like, posh. I like the frappe there, I like the cappuccino there, etc., etc. Okay, but the key ingredient and element is coffee. Okay, why is that missing from the dialogue? Okay, so if you go to any Starbucks fan, or I'm sure you'll have a lot of friends who would like to show off from Starbucks. Even I did when I was in Singapore. You go to Starbucks and buy a card, and the pencil box there is 900 rupees. Just pencil box there, and then you like to show off, etc., etc., and you say I had a frappuccino, etc., coffee with cream, or Americano, black coffee with boiled water. Okay, but this Starbucks things, many people call it marketing, branding, etc., etc. And that is what happening in AI, guys. Okay, AI, plain and simple, is mathematics. Remember your multiplication tables, and why were you asked to memorize multiplication tables rather than studying it? Okay, the 2 2s are 4, 4 4s are 16. Okay, AI is mathematics. AI is statistics and others on steroids. Okay, we didn't have computing power to do complex mathematics. Now we have, and we are doing it. Okay, but the word called math, stats, never comes in any equation. People talk about Claude, Gemini, next GPT-5, etc., etc. Okay, and that is what is happening across tier 1 cities and tier 1 institutions. They are selling Starbucks. Okay, without knowing the fact that the base is coffee. Okay, and they are trying to erase every identity of coffee there because for them it's the Starbucks. Same thing is happening in the AI world. Okay, removing the real critical thinking and human resource part of it, and the statistics and mathematics part of it. People are hyping it. Okay, and the hype is good for few things. Okay, which I'll tell you one example before I conclude the talk. But be very clear, it's just coffee. Okay, it's pure mathematics, it's pure critical thinking, it's pure human resource, etc., etc. So that in this AI world which you're facing, right, do not be fooled by Starbucks. It's coffee, just coffee, and that is where Adam Smith and Peter Drucker will help you think, or called critical thinking. Or even Warren Buffett is a good example. Okay. So you have to see through their lies, and that's what I hope I will train you for the technical session before, and I hope you also should train yourself. Do not fall for the Starbucks brand. That is the AI hype they are selling you, etc., etc. Okay, please see beyond it. Okay, and think like a logical, sane person, like what Bharathair did. Okay, think like a logician, think like a mathematician, and then you'll be able to see through it. Okay, I want to end this talk with one litmus test question. Okay, which will help you understand the elitism and the whole hype behind it. Okay, and also help your MBA students. And your seniors must know the answer. I hope this is also a test for them. Say, for example, Sundar Pichai comes and gives a keynote. Or Sam Altman releases GPT-5. Or Elon Musk says something on Twitter. What happens the next day? What happens after a keynote speech? Say, Ambani recently gave a keynote speech, right, for Jio. For Jio, Ambani addresses AGM shareholders meeting. It's called AGM, Annual General Meeting for Shareholders. What happens the next day? Can anyone guess? Good. Ma'am, I am the faculty answering. Those are students. The share market Increases or decreases? In that context, okay, Warren Buffett nicely said, life is better understood hindsight. In this context, can you understand things hindsight? Why different announcements are being made? Why has to software company launch every GPT version every 6 months, even though it fails? Is the same thing. Why Apple launched different things and failed? Because they have a shareholder and a capitalistic market to cater to. And Adam Smith is the first person who understood very well. And can anyone, at least not the faculty members by the way, any of the students tell me what is one famous theory of Adam Smith, which is going to guide you with MBA and economics? One very famous theory. It's a practicality as well, not a theory. Of course, the practicality has some issues. One very famous theory of Adam Smith. Very famous. This is the clue. Come on, guys, I'm a biomedical engineer. I know this. Come on. What's the clue here? Anyone serious? The clue is here. I am hearing the answer, but loud please, you're correct. What is Adam Smith's famous theory? No. The invisible hand of economics. Okay, so please read about it. Okay, so let not 3 eyes of India fool you. Let not the tier 1 cities fool you. In fact, I'm a climate activist, like I said, and I'm very angry because I'll give you 3 examples. Maybe I'll take 5 minutes of your time. Okay, I'll give you an example of 3 cities. And you imagine your MBA, you joined a real estate company as developers, and you want to open an office in any of these 3 cities. Tell me which one would you choose? Okay, I'll not name the city. Okay, city number 1 has a frequent water problem. Is very close to the sea. That sea water seeps in. Has traffic problem and it's very hot and has a storm problem. The local university, which is very popular, gave a report saying that this city is unlivable in 25 years. Okay, that is city number 1. City number 2, the city is so high from the ground that one major river has to be pumped. So there's no river flow. They have to pump water to the city. City is full of traffic and it's full of valleys and ups and downs, and the construction is very poor. Okay, and the city is known for its climate. Okay, I'll tell you a third city. Okay, a city which is quite well balanced. It has lakes and water and everywhere. Even the local university said that because of influence of a mountain range, the city is going to be very safe. It's going to be climate risk friendly. There's no water problem, no the rain problem, no storm problem. It's a very safe city and less pollution city. Okay, so 3 cities, 1, 2, 3. Which one would you choose? How many of you would choose city 1, city 2, city 3? And can anyone guess what city 1 is? Yes. What city 2 is? City 3? Yeah. Why do you think all the real estaters and the vibe pros are in Bangalore and Chennai? When you say Coimbatore, there's this Coimbatore. No, அதாவது தமிழ்ல சொன்ன போனா ஒரு வணிகருக்கு அரசியல் இருக்கு. So in English it's translated there is a market forces behind it. Okay, and let me see if you MBA students can see through it and really strategically walk through. And strategy to me is that's all, guys. It's to understand what is real and what is not real. What our extra said, this is what strategy is all about. It's about understanding the real truth behind these lies and covering up. Okay, and that's what I'll be covering the next session. But welcome all. We will be working very closely. That is, I'm adding cherry to a cake on top, which ma'am has presented you. We are also bringing an Indo-German incubation center as part of the Sikhi thing. So ongoing. And you will be seeing me very often. So let's work together and good luck to all of us. Okay, and remember Adam Smith and Peter Drucker. Next time I ask you, you should know who they are. Right. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We are thankful for your presence and wisdom that you have shared. Now, we kindly request our respected Professor Dr. K. Malanmadi ma'am to present sir with the momentum as a token of love. Thank you, ma'am. Time for a tea break. take a few minutes to unwind and refresh yourself. And one kind information for our beloved juniors that your seniors had some messages for you which is available in the whiteboard at the entrance. Kindly make a glance of it. I request our juniors to wait for a few minutes to cross-check the attendance. And also find your names in the whiteboard, okay? Juniors, please wait for 10 minutes, for a few minutes for cross-checking the attendance. Anjalna, Anjalna, are you here? Thank you. Arul Murugan. Arul Murugan. Now you can go for a tea break and please assemble at 11:45. Use the back door to Hello. Hello.
Hello. Yeah. All right. So there'll be another slide. Can you open it? There'll be another slide called chief guest address. No slide. Okay. 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 Okay, my dear inaugural MBA students and freshers, I know it was a very intense morning session, but in the session, don't worry, let's just keep it quite chill, okay? So now first one, when I came here early, I asked your faculty members, should I scare them or should I give them hope? They asked me to do a mix and match of both. Okay, so I'll do a mix and match of both to give you hope as well as scare you on the reality of AI, the good part of AI, bad part of AI, and the nonsense part of AI as well. Okay, that's what I'll be doing. Next slide, please. Okay. Sorry guys, just give me 1 minute. இந்த ப்ராஜெக்ட் என்ன பண்ணு HDMI அதுல போயிட்டு இருக்கு ஐயோ ஷேக் ஆகுதா இல்ல சார் ஷேக் இதானே Okay. எப்படி தெரியும் உங்களுக்கு source category HTML வந்தானே கல்டி கொடுத்தோமா சிவா HTML மாத்தி அந்த லேப் எடுத்துருங்க சிவா இது பாஸ்வேர்ட் என்ன சிவா பாஸ்வேர்ட் அது ரெடி பண்ண முடியாது HTML கழட்டி கொடுத்தோம் அந்த லேப்டாப் எடுத்துடு வீடியோ எல்லாமே இதுலயே இருக்குல்ல லேப்டாப் HDMI போட்டு வேலை செய்யல
Anush laptop. காப்பி பண்றியா? அப்படியே ஓபன் பண்ணு. F11.
Windows P கொடுத்து duplicate இது போடு. Windows P கொடு. எந்த லேப்டாப் இருந்தாலும் Windows P கொடுத்தீங்கன்னா
Okay, thank you guys for coming and doing this. Just audio. No problem. Okay, everybody, listen here. The technical problem is solved. So yeah, I am ready to go. Okay, so I want to very quickly talk to you about the yes, of course, I briefly covered about AI and other previously. Okay. I want to very briefly cover about myself, despite all the charts of introduction currently previously did. Okay, my bread, butter, and jam is AI. I'm paying taxes. I drove a car here, and everything is because of AI. And you can call me in the category of those engineers and technologists who are developing AI to really replace jobs. Okay, I also discussed to you about that, and I'll also cover a few other things very respect to that. So what we do for AI is we do computer vision and what you call video analytics based AI. So I'll show you a brief video which will cover everything which will be covered as part of my talk. Most importantly, I want to talk about ethical and pragmatic AI. Okay, so when I say ethical and pragmatic AI, so basically how can we ensure that AI, which is currently doing, is ethical and pragmatic. Okay. So before we start, I want to show you two important what we call as management theories. Okay, before understanding what I'm going to say. Next slide, please. All right. So this is one of the most important quote I want you to remember for your next 2 years of MBA. 2 years of MBA. For next 2 years of your MBA. Okay. The biggest obstacle to learning something new is the belief that you already know it. Okay. And in this age of YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, okay, with all the influencers giving you micro learning, it is easy to assume that you know everything. Very easy. Okay. And sometimes it's true as well. I know, I have assumed that before. Okay. But at least for the next 2 years of your management training or whatever you're involved with, okay, let's just understand that maybe you already know something and that is what is stopping you from learning the same thing again. Be even better. Okay, that's something you have to do. Next slide, please. Okay, this is my favorite management theory, which I often follow in my I often follow in my company. It's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Okay, so it's basically a very popular management bias. So what it says is that people who are confident, very confident, will talk less. Okay, that means people who have a lot of knowledge will talk less. So if you look at the graph here, people who have a lot of knowledge and a lot of confidence is going to say, it's very complicated. Okay, but people who don't know anything like to talk more about it. Okay, the reason why I am showing you this, okay, is very relevant, and this is what's happening in the current AI-driven management world. Okay, if you take management as an example, MBAs, IIMs, Harvard MBAs, MIT Sloan, etc., this is very common. When you see a person giving a keynote and person being very articulate, most likely his knowledge level is low, and person who's unsure, most likely his knowledge level is high. The reason why I'm showing you here is that in an MBA, and I can see all the people wearing coats and suits here because that is this assumption that we have to be very confident in a management strategy or a session to come across as knowledgeable. How many of you believe that? You have to be confident. So if I'm confident, I'll be assumed as knowledgeable. How many of you believe that? Okay. I mean, how many of you believe that sometimes if you're less confident, you're not knowledgeable? Okay. Anyways, the whole context of this thing is sometimes you need not be confident. Okay. Sometimes you can be unsure, and that is what I want to openly share with you. Okay. Strategy and innovation is about embracing that unsurety. Okay, and fighting for knowledge. Okay. Do not take things half-baked and say you're very confident. Okay. Let's ensure that you go through it thoroughly and then you can say you're unsure. That's what I want. Next. Next slide. All right. So my company name is Bipolar Factory. Okay. How many of you know bipolar disorder? Bipolar disorder. Okay. The reason why we named our company Bipolar Factory is because my co-founder has bipolar disorder and I have ADHD. So we were confused between should call me ADHD Factory or Bipolar Factory, and we chose Bipolar Factory. Okay, and that is the reason why I always wanted to focus on tier 2, tier 3 institutions. As someone suffering from ADHD, I never listen to class. I'm unable to listen to any class. And my co-founder and friend who's suffering from bipolar has issues with decisions. Okay, but we came together and we started a company called Bipolar Factory, and that's why we want to talk about how there are different systems in society that is preventing from people who are irregular or who are divergent from succeeding. And that's why what we wanted to show to them that people who can be different and neurodivergent can succeed too. That's why we call Bipolar Factory. And I'll briefly tell you about our company, and so that you will be able to understand well. And there's no points in guessing. We are open for internships. So if you're interested in internship, at the end of this talk, I will share my contact info. You can contact me for internships or other internships. Right? Let's play the video. There's a video. Can you play the video? So now I'll show you a very brief video about our company. Yeah, that's a video. Mute the sound. Yeah. Okay, pause. All right. So I'll tell you what our company does. Okay. So what you see here is a Malaysian store where people are entering inside the shop. This could be a typical stop in Prozone Mall or any malls you have visited, or any cloth or textile shop. Okay. Can you see what our AI is doing in terms of putting color boxes? You can see that number one, it is identifying the person. Okay. Number two, it is identifying the gender. Number three, it is identifying the age, approximate age. And number four, it is blurring the face. Okay. So imagine all you need is a CCTV in front of your store. And with our AI technology, we are understanding the person's age, demographic, how many people entered and exited in the store. Okay, all with the regular CCTV camera. No need to buy new CCTV camera. All with the AI technology. Okay, next. Okay. What is happening here is, okay, we are using artificial intelligence and computer vision to track a customer inside the store. So basically, we are tracking where the customer is going, what is she buying, which section the customer is going, etc., etc. Okay, so that the shops will be able to plan the whole visual merchandising. Okay. Okay, pause. So from the data which we acquire through CCTV camera, or the data which our AI comes from CCTV camera, it's displayed in a dashboard. Like, say, for example, how many people entered, exited in a day, how many people bought the thing, how much sales had happened, etc., for all stores. So we are working with 580 stores across the world. And imagine all you need is a CCTV camera in the retail stores. You rent a CCTV camera and it replaces watchman, sales representative, data scientist, store manager, supervisor, etc. Okay, that is what we are doing to our technology. Next. We have some government use cases as well. So imagine if you want to track a car in Chennai or a particular city. So it basically use AI, CCTV footage is automatically detect where the car is going through CCTV footage and AI. This is our AI sees a storefront, how we'll get data. It checks whether there's overcrowding in a particular context. Okay, this is for industries where it checks whether they are wearing the helmet, PPE, gloves, etc. Basically for safety and manufacturing. All through CCTV cameras. Okay, you don't need special cameras. Anything. Existing cameras run our AI. This is for parking. So how many vehicles enter the exit? This is for a local event, whether there is stampede, etc. Alright, okay, you can stop the video. Go to the slide. Okay, so this is in very, very brief summary of what bipolar factory is and what ODD is. Okay, so what we do is we have designed and developed a product called OD, which will be you just have to plug it to your existing CCTV camera and it will convert the CCTV camera into a store manager, data scientist, whatever you want, whatever a human can see from a CCTV camera, we can ask an AI to replace it. That means we are replacing humans real time in stores and etc. And we are increasing their profit as well. So how stores understand the data is something which I can discuss with you in further classes as we go about. Okay, but this is what I'm telling you briefly, what AI is doing and what we are doing. Go next slide, please. Next. Okay, no, stop that. Yes. This is our very, very famous and popular use case. See, how many of you have been to Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam? Tirumala Tirupati? So you've been to Tirupati Devasthanam, right? So whenever you enter Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam, so basically for people who are international, I'll just share with them. It's a very popular place of worship. Very, very popular, attracts close to 100,000 to 200,000 people every day. Very, very popular. So in order to restrict entry there, so it's a hill station, basically a pilgrimage, bottom of the hill to top of the hill. So what will happen is at the bottom of the hill, you will have to register your biometric data, basically your thumbprints, your face recognition, etc. They'll record it first. And then what happens is when you enter the temple, when you go there and enter that particular date and time, they'll cross-verify. Okay. But there's one particular culture in India, South India, is that before entering the temple, you're supposed to shave off your head. You're supposed to wear a religious mark. So this is the photo taken by you at the bottom of the hill. But as you reach the origin station, where you have to enter, you look like this. Okay, that means there are a lot of restrictions, and then it's basically you'll be completely different, and the facial recognition doesn't work. And we used AI to solve the problem, which I'll discuss later. I'm not going to confuse you with the technical terms, okay? But we used AI to solve the problem. Can you go back? Yeah. So these are some of our clients. So we have worked with Government of India, we have worked with Reliance, Max Stores, etc. We have a staff of 52 people, and our turnover is around 9 CR this year expected. Okay, this is bipolar factory for you. Okay. Now I want to step into the world of AI. I want to give you some hints about what the world of AI looks like and how you could be ready. Okay. Can you quickly skip all the slides? Yeah. Yes. Okay. First and foremost, while I was giving you inaugural talk, I spoke about the Starbucks example. Okay. The Starbucks example is something I want to also remind you here about the hype and what really AI means and what hype is happening there. Okay. Now I want to show you an example. Next slide. Okay. So this was a machine constructed in 1770. Okay. So in 1770 they built this machine. It is called the chess Turk. So basically, this machine inventor told that this machine can automatically play chess. So basically, you have to just make a move, and this machine will automatically respond the move. Okay. And this inventor took it to Napoleon Bonaparte. I hope you can see the name. Napoleon Bonaparte, Benjamin Franklin. Basically, it was very popular in those days. That this mechanical machine marvel which can play chess. And they were supposed to be called as the first artificial intelligence. World's first AI was supposed to be this machine, which automatically played chess in 1772. Okay. But in reality, the inventor was a scammer. And you know what happened inside? There was a human sitting there and playing chess. Okay, but he sold it as an automatic machine playing chess. 1770. Let's come to today. I will tell you a name. Okay. I hope you recognize the name. If not, you definitely should recognize the name next time I come. Okay. Builder.ai. Builder.ai. All of you have your phones. Quickly search Builder.ai. So, how many of you understand Tamil here? So, because the international audience don't mind, okay? In Tamil colloquial term, we call it Vibhuti Adikira. The first Vibhuti Adikira AI from 1770 AI. Okay. Okay. Anyone Builder.ai? Yes, you can just tell it to me. What can stand up and tell what you read about Builder.ai? Sorry? Builder.ai. Builder. Like builder. Builder.ai. Like build, BUILD. Build. Anyone? So what happened to Builder.ai?
So actually, it's a US-based AI company. I searched in Google and it shows that it helps to build mobile software without any technical experience.
Good. That is why I told you not to trust Google and AI anymore. Beautifully summarized the company. Okay, but I'll tell you the reality. It's an Indian-based company with a US brand. Okay. So what it claimed was that it claimed that it can help people build software through AI. Okay, and then Microsoft acquired it to $1 billion, and then it was like wow, AI is building software, AI is building everything. It's an Indian-based founder. Okay, but then they realized that. Did anyone spot what happened to Builder.ai in the Google search? What happened?
Actually, it's an AI, but they used a human engineer expertise to
I really like the way you guys are putting it. So basically, what she said was basically it's an AI company, but they use human expertise to solve it. Okay, I'll tell you what they scammed. Okay, actually that's a scam, and I like the way you put it. Like not a scam, that's MBA, sign up for MBA. They scammed Microsoft saying that AI is going to build software, and they hired real people to build software. Basically, AI didn't build software. They claimed, but like what happened here, there were people, Indian engineers, at a cheaper rate being hired to build software. Okay, so 1770, 2025. Okay, Builder.ai. Just an example. Okay. And why I am telling you with this negative example to set a framework, guys. Okay. See, all is not hunky dory and positive in the AI sector. And like I'm building products here. 95% of the products you see in AI, whatever .ai is coming, right? is simply human powered AI or simply what we call a wrapper. Okay, you can just Google wrapper and you'll understand. Okay, Perplexity is nothing but a ChatGPT wrapper. Now, Perplexity is powered by ChatGPT. They just had a wrapper around ChatGPT. Okay, so 95% of them is just human powered AI. Okay, and it's primarily the way you put it, and it's primarily a scam. So don't fall for it. Ensure that you understand deeply what really AI that the company is doing. If a company something comes and claims to AI, don't really take it to face value. Understand what they're really doing. And how I want you to understand is that you also don't pretend you do AI. Okay. I know a lot of students, when they're doing project work, etc., AI. But understand, what AI can do and cannot do, and what AI is all about. That's what I'm here to tell you. Next slide. All right. I'm going to address a major issue. Okay. How many of you have used AI for helping you write essays? Use AI for introduction, sir, please. Essays. Right. People who are not using AI should use AI. Okay, please. That's the worst thing you can do is not use AI. Okay. But what is happening here is there are two things, man. Okay, I'm sure Professor Ramakrishna was doing this. If you understand further in the later semester classes. Temptation tool. Okay. AI most likely should be used as a tool, but sometimes viewed as a temptation. Meaning we don't want to think, we want to do every assignment that is happening there, etc. etc. Okay. And it is very common, I've seen it among students, especially tier 2 students, tier 2 and tier 3 students. AI being used as a temptation is really key. Okay. And I have my personal way to spot AI content. So what I do is usually I go to these hackathons and startup pitches. Okay. And if you look at the content, you will understand it's AI. Okay. What I will do is I'll ask the student to read out the sentence. Okay. Usually, if there's something like complex word like tenacious, the other complex words, where the students will be unable to pronounce, but it will be there. So those are way to spot it. Okay. But what I'm telling you in general and as a whole is that, guys, if you come to me as a potential interviewee with AI generated content or AI generated resume, okay, it really irritates us. And corporate world today is very irritated with AI generated content, resumes, assignments, okay, whatever. Okay, so please use AI as a tool, not as a temptation. And that is where you will have to think how to use AI as a tool. It's easy for me to say, but for you to realize how to use AI as a tool, there's something you have to do. But use AI. That is something I really emphasize. Use AI, but use it as a tool. But do not go back to old ages when you're using, Google search. You can use AI, but let's use it next. And that is where I wanted to kind of nudge you on a particular journey. Okay. See, AI is an intelligent equalizer. That means people here on average will have different IQ levels, 120, 110, 70, 80, okay? But if you use AI, every essay will look like someone who's at the 120 IQ. It's an intelligence equalizer, okay? But this is a personal ethical question I always ask students, and I always ask them to take it with them, okay? AI is like a screwdriver, like a cutting plier, okay? It's a tool, okay? If you can unscrew a screw, okay? If people call that smart, I don't know what to say. Okay? Can you call someone a smart by just because he can unscrew a screwdriver or he can cut a wire with a cutting plier? Do you call that smart? Then why is that when you're using AI, your output is intelligent or very cool, you are feeling yourself to be smart? Of course, there's something called imposter syndrome, which I'll cover later, but on overall, I want to simply tell you, treat AI like a screwdriver or a cutting plier, or a complex thing. Which, of course, tools can be complex. It can be cutting plier, it can be a sensor, etc. But treat AI as a tool. Okay. And please remember, this is my favorite quote: "A fool with a tool is still a fool." No matter how smart your AI essay looks like, how smart your AI resume looks like. Okay. If you are a fool, if you're using AI, you're still a fool. And we are very quick and easy way to spot it. Okay, I'll tell you even more simpler example for you to understand. Okay, I'll give you example of two directors. Let me make it as Tamil directors first. I was going first. Okay. You have to tell me difference between these two Tamil directors. Okay. One director is Atli. Another director is Vetrimaran. Okay. Now tell me, what is the difference between Atli and Vetrimaran? Anyone? Anyone? No idea. Atli and Vetrimaran. How many of you know Atli? Okay. What is the difference between Atli and Vetrimaran in your perspective?
Movie copy பண்ணி வெற்றிமாறனுக்கு நிறைய violence
So, Vetrimaran social message நிறைய spread பண்றாங்க cool writing and Atli normal films, family films.
Okay. I want, guys, I'm also interviewing you right now. Like I told you, I'm having internship opportunities with my company. Okay. So please feel very free. I know the professors are here, but they're very friendly, I promise you. Okay. Tell me the clear difference between Atli and Vetrimaran in AI sense. Okay. We are here for a business class. Okay. Let's not talk Samudrakari dialogues. Let's be very open.
He makes movies inspiring in all genres. Vetrimaran.
Talk in terms of AI and business. Don't talk in terms of AI. Don't talk in terms of talk in terms of your business, your creativity. Let's put a creativity angle. For creativity angle, Vetrimaran and for investors, I'll come to a fresh example. Okay, maybe I'll rephrase the question. What do you think AI can easily do with Vetrimaran? Why do you think Atli is easily do with Vetrimaran? That's a very simple. Why do you think Atli is easy to replace by AI? Think in terms of strategy. How does AI think? Okay, I'll give you an example, guys. AI simply cuts and pastes from different sources. Okay, now can you answer the question? Why? Go ahead.
So AI can replace Atli because Atli also do the same thing like copy and paste from various films and make a film, but it's comparatively difficult to replace Vetrimaran. But comparing collections means Atli movies collect more than Vetrimaran's movies, so it's in terms of business.
Very good, very good. Okay, this is what I call an MBA. Well done, ma. Your good name? Shalini. Well done, Shalini. This is what I call as a strategic perspective, and every student in the MBA classes should answer like this, please. Take it as a good example, okay? Guys, that is what strategic thought is about, okay? AI can easily replace Atli, and if you look at AI generated perplexity free premium, which you've got hopefully Natal subscription, just look at the source. Just ask for perplexity for the source. You'll understand how perplexity generates the content. Different sources, gives a different coherence and it generates the content, okay? And that's what Atli does as well. If you look at the Atli movie, I know there are like YouTube videos on it. There's YouTube like tribe on Atli, copycat, perspective. But if you look at Vetrimaran, the content is original. He looks at original content, he takes and replaces everything. Okay? And this is a question you have to ask yourself. Okay? Yes, Atli is very successful commercially more than Vetrimaran, but Vetrimaran comes up with original content. So, if you want to be a creative person, AI can help. AI can be creative. Okay? But if you want to be a creative genius, definitely AI cannot help. That you have to do yourself. Okay? Ask yourself this question as an MBA student or a strategic student. In fact, this question might help you understand your career path as well. If you want to be an athlete or if you want to be a veterinarian. If you want to be an athlete, use AI as a temptation. Okay, use it as a temptation for your assignments, for your corporate strategy, etc. But if you want to be a veterinarian, use AI as a tool. And that is something you have to ask yourself. Because it's very, very hard, getting hard these days. You know, sometimes I am unable to detect which is AI and which is real. In fact, I know some students in my previous, hackathon. They asked AI, "What question should I ask Vivek sir to sound smart?" They ask AI that question. Okay, so it's very, very difficult these days to replace AI. But ask yourself this question before proceeding with whatever you want to do. Okay, and for international students, I'll add one more example. It's also for general for all of you. See, have you heard about Bahubali? Bahubali movie? No, not Bahubali. Okay. So have you heard about Jurassic Park? Jurassic Park, you know, right? Yes, Jurassic Park is something I've seen. And let's compare Jurassic Park with what is the other commercially available. Okay, let's take Jurassic Park with Titanic. Okay, Jurassic Park and Titanic. Okay? So Jurassic Park is something which was created out of original content. Okay, but Titanic was something which was already existing story, and Steven Spielberg added layers on top of it. So basically, the example here is if you want to be a creative person, AI will help you. Okay, but if you want to be creative genius, AI should be used as a tool. So you should do the main thing. That was the example. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so I'm going to quickly wrap up and I'm going to start the next session. Okay, to very, very quickly summarize about the AI perspective and strategy I give you as MBA students looking forward. How should you see AI? Some good summary guys. One is please equip yourself with the theoretical class and the goals that's on so far. Okay, whatever we see in students is help them understand what are mentorship. So how we recruit students is we understand what are mentorship they have done, what are internships they have done, what are projects they have completed. That's how we recruit students. So please go for real-time problem solving methodology. Hackathons, take your own projects, have volunteer, etc. That's what is very important. And number two is always look at the AI 101 minus the hype. Do not fall in for the hype. And third point is, of course, intelligence first and artificial next thinking. Like I clearly said, guys, ask yourself, a fool with a tool is still a fool. So you want to be a fool or you want to be a smart person using the tool? That's something which you have to simply ask yourself. And then I want to help you understand that please read about different AI trends and things happening around the world. Do not fall for it. Read and look at it in a very skeptical way. That will help you understand strategy well as well. And of course, ensure that you interact with experts, you interact with tools, Perplexity, NVIDIA, whatever. Just start interacting. Start using it for daily life, say your assignments and your projects, etc. So that you understand AI better. Next, please. Okay. I want to conclude this part, of course, that we have the part which I quickly follow. I want to conclude this part with saying that, in tech or in management in general, there is this disease of over-promising and under-delivering. So basically, we make a lot of promises and under-delivering. That's a common cultural thing. We always claim something and under-deliver. So let's just ensure that, young minds like you always under-promise and over-deliver. That's a very, very hard thing to do. Yes, it's easy for us to over-promise, say that, I can do this, I can do that, I can solve this, that, and then under-deliver. But to me, take a step back and then you do under-promising and over-deliver. That's something which I want to do. Okay, next. Right, actually go to the next slide. Close. Go to the next slide. Sometimes another slide. By the way, I prepared this for the chief guest address, so I just have to briefly walk through it. Now comes, go. Open that. That's the stuff, please. Okay, next slide, please. All right, fine. Okay, so I want to now briefly touch upon. Don't worry, there will be a small break in between, so we can all take a break and gather back again. So I want to talk to you about, go back to the person. So I am an AI, I'm an engineer and AI specialist, etc. etc. So for masterclass for today, I wanted to touch upon something of AI, something non-technical to help you understand and make you relevant in this AI-driven world. Okay? And what I wanted to cover is what I call as critical thinking. Okay? Critical thinking simply means like what I try to teach you in the morning. So whenever you see Sundar Pichai's keynote address, you'll have to ask yourself, what is the stock market doing next? Okay, that is called critical thinking. Basically, questioning the critical aspects of business. Okay, don't think like a normal person. Think like someone who would run the business. That's called critical thinking. Like what I told you about how stock markets work, how different capitalist markets work, how AI works, etc., etc. And in order to top that, next slide, please. People are using design thinking these days. Okay, how many of you have been to design thinking class? Design thinking. Not been to design thinking class. At least heard about design thinking? Okay, quite a few people. Okay. Seniors, you have done design thinking? Heard about design thinking, right? Okay. So I'm going to very briefly cover you about design thinking, what it can do and what it cannot do, and how you should be very careful. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, next. All right. Okay. So first and foremost thing which everyone in MBA will ask you to remember is innovation. Okay, so innovation is this corporate term which everyone likes to use and throw around and ask you to be innovative, fresh, etc., etc. Okay, but I am someone who's doing business and I can very well vouch for it, and also I know a lot of friends and you faculty vouch for it. Innovation is sometimes a weakness. Okay. When I say innovation is sometimes a weakness, okay, I will tell you a simple example. I'll give you two examples, okay. One, have you heard about MRI machines, the MRI machine, CT scan machines? Okay, it's really solving a lot of problems. Okay, how on an innovation scale 1 to 10, how innovative do you think an MRI machine is? It basically, looks at proton level detection. So can we give it a 8 out of 10 innovation? Okay. I'm going to give you another example, which you won't believe have had more impact and effect than an MRI machine. Not CT. It's the midday meal scheme. How many of you heard about the midday meal scheme? So we know midday meal scheme, right? So what do you? It's a midday meal scheme.
Free meal for the students. It's a free meal for the government students. Provided by Tamil Nadu. It was introduced by Kamala. Many students are not going for schools because they are poor. One child said, நீங்க சாப்பாடு போடுவீங்களா எங்க வீட்டுல வேலைக்கு போனாலும் சரி அந்த சோறு போட்டு நீ படிப்பியா அப்படின்னு காமராஜ் கேட்டு நான் போட்டேன்.
This is where you should be very careful. Yes, I agree with that. Kamala's story is very good. But between MBA class, it's not that at the emotional stories. Especially I think what are three things achieved by MBA. Three things.
So class enrollment.
So, if you go through a design thinking class, guys, trust me, in the modern hackathons, this midday meal scheme, if you propose, it will definitely get rejected. Because for the innovative people, right, they will propose an app to monitor students, they'll propose a CCTV camera like us to monitor students coming on regularly and then, okay. But this midday meal scheme would never come in any design thinking, hackathon, startup competitions for the international students. Midday meal scheme means the government of Tamil Nadu and eventually government of India and now international governments provided free meal for children to attend school. So since the free meal was given, school enrollment ratio improved by 40%. Number two, children nutrition were monitored. They were able to give supplements, etc. And they were able to deworm and take care of their children's health as well, stunting, etc. etc. Okay. So in a normal innovation design thinking class that is happening in the current startup TN or startup Bangalore or whatever, if you propose this idea, I'm sure you will be kicked out. Yeah, no, not yet the early stage. Okay. So that is where you should clearly understand as an MBA pursuant. Strategy, innovation are two different things. Solving problem is a different thing. Innovation need not solve problem, or a simple innovation can solve more problems like a midday meal scheme. Okay, that is one example I gave you. Okay, so whenever you're doing design thinking and innovation, please think in terms of a midday meal scheme rather than an MRI mission. Sometimes MRI mission is important, yes, for different use cases. But in general strategic sense, simple effective tool is important. I'll give you one more example of what happened with innovation, simple innovation impact. So, how many of you have, of course, this Coolie film now recently released? Maybe people of our age and our age will understand. How many of you have seen porters in railway station? Porters in railway station. So, do you think it's decreasing or increasing? The porters decreasing, right? And the reason is one simple innovation. Can anyone find out what innovation is that? Correct. What is innovation?
Adding wheels in the
Adding wheels to your luggage has decreased portership by 80%. A simple idea of a wheel. There's an interesting story behind this innovation. You know, we put man on the moon 1960s. Okay, but the patent for a wheel suitcase is 1972. So technically, we put man on the moon first and then wheels on the suitcase. Okay, so you understand the difference between innovation, design thinking, etc. And the reason why I'm telling you this is you as MBA students, please do not fall for innovation scams. Real innovation is different. Like midday meal scheme, the wheels on suitcase, a lot of things are real innovations. Okay, but don't fall for these innovation scams like Bitcoin, etc. etc. And don't place your strategic direction on that. What is happening in company these days, right? That is GPT. Everything will be GPT, AI, without understanding what innovation really is. Okay, so these are things which you really have to work around. Okay, I'll tell you one very good example about innovation design thinking that happened in Coimbatore. There's a company called SA. How many of you know SA? It's an air compressor company, very popular company. SA. So let me see if I can introduce you to the CEO and make them once. So they make air compressors and they have around, I think around 700 people working in their factories, making air compressors. So one of them had a problem is that these employees have to travel a long route. Sometimes they come from Tirupur, Karur, etc. They travel a long route through buses and they are very tired on the floor. And they call these IIM, MBA graduates, etc. to help solve the problem. And as usual, all these graduates sat together and came out an app or something that will help them monitor tracking, the smartwatch that will monitor this hydration meter, etc., etc. Okay, but the supervisor or the union leader, specifically, he have a simple solution. All these MBAs from IIMs and I think one was from Sloan were unable to figure out a simple solution which this floor worker, union leader gave. Okay? He simply said, "Sir, give us a neck pillow. Neck pillow, right? Give us a neck pillow so that when we are traveling, we'll just take a small nap." And neck pillows really help. If you have used neck pillow, you understand. Second, he told, give us 2 rest stops for toilet breaks. Okay, and that solved the problem of fatigue and tiredness of travel. Rather than all these apps and smartwatches, etc., you say your pocket to procure. Okay. So this is what design thinking and innovation is all about. And as you MBA students, right? Because if you look at Tier 1 institutions like IIM and IITs, innovation is being pushed as like the forefront and innovate. But let's just take a step back and let's do pragmatic innovation, okay? Which Tier 2 students are very good at because we understand problem from ground up. We know problems in reality, and most of us are first-time graduates as well. So that problem is something we understand very well. So we'll be able to make better solutions. But do not fall for the innovation trap. Let's do more pragmatic design thinking. Let us solve problems. Yeah. Next slide, please. All right. I know you didn't recognize Adam Smith. How many of you know him? How many of you know him? He's a very popular inventor. Edison. Thomas Alva Edison. Okay. We all have been fed this thing about Edison being an inventor, innovator, the blah blah blah. Okay. But I want to break that myth today. Okay, because by the way, this is not my thing. This is a very popular thing in management class in NUS Singapore. I took the slide from there. Okay, Singapore students are learning this, but Indian students are being taught Edison is the great inventor of the light bulb. Okay, I want to clear two major myths. Okay, first myth is light bulb, electric light bulb existed before Edison. Edison is not the inventor of the electric light bulb. Please understand. You can Google it. You can Perplexity, ChatGPT. Edison simply made it more convenient. Okay, the electric bulb flow stays burnt off in 4-5 hours. Edison made it burn for 48 hours or someday to 3 weeks. Second popular myth is that the current light bulbs you're using, right, not the LED, but the tungsten ones, people still think that's Edison's design. No. Edison's design was so inefficient that we are no longer following this design. The tungsten filament is a new design, completely new patent. Okay, but why do you think Edison was being propagated as this inventor, innovator, who can do things, etc., etc.? Of course, you know what Edison Tesla was, not even Edison Tesla was. But why do you think Edison was being propagated as this inventor, innovator, who changed the world? I'm sure any light bulb was still for the light bulb movement of Edison. But the reality is that's not the truth. Okay, why do you think that happened? And I'll tell you the answer based on this clue. If you understand which company Edison co-founded, you'll understand why this happened. There is a company which Edison co-founded, which is a very popular company now. Very popular company which Edison co-founded, still in existence. And if I tell you the answer, you will tell why Edison was being put as that PR guy for that company. Any guesses which company Edison co-founded is still existing? It starts with a G. GE, General Electric, yes. GE is a company co-founded by Thomas Alva Edison. Okay, GE had a PR push. And who is current equivalent to GE and PR push innovator? Any guesses? Someone is doing same thing what Edison did those days today. He's being seen as an innovator who can change things. Okay, who can put people on Mars. Yes. What is this company? Okay, so that's what the reality is, guys. Okay, these blah 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 about innovators. Okay, they did invent and innovate. There's no questions about that. But that is for non-MBA people. But for MBA people, you should know the facts behind it. And this is strategic thought and management. Strategic thought and management is not about knowing Edison is an inventor. It's about knowing that Edison promised to investors. Edison raised money from investors that he will invent a light bulb. He was unable to deliver and he was stressed. And that's what a strategic person like you or an MBA student is. Okay. In fact, it happened. Edison promised things he was unable to deliver. He was very, very frustrated, and he tried different things to make it work. And that is where he realized that bamboo. Okay, it was primarily testing 10,000 different things. He tested 10,000 different things. We don't even call it innovation. We simply call it mass testing. That's how he managed to find the light bulb. But he had a team of 56 people when he invented the light bulb. Okay, so let's be very clear. And as MBAs or MBA pursuants, Edison is an inventor, yes. But for an MBA people, let's go beyond. Let's understand the reality behind GE. And you know what's happening with Tesla, right? One tweet will change the stock market price. Okay, so that's what is happening in reality. So basically, Elon Musk and Edison are in the same boat. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this is a modern day example. Does anyone remember this women founder name? I want to be gender equal, so I'm also showing a women founder here. Okay, her name is Elizabeth Holmes. She was the turtleneck on everything. She was replicating Steve Jobs. If you remember Steve Jobs with the iPod ad, Steve Jobs, you know Steve Jobs, right? Yeah, with the iPod ad when we did the iPod. So she gave the same pose for inventions she made, but now she's in prison. She's in prison now. He was called the next Steve Jobs. Fortune 500, Forbes, Time, everyone spoke about her, but now she's in prison. Okay, simply because in this current strategic capitalistic world, they were over promising and under delivering. And everyone working for them were asked to over promise and under deliver, and that really made a lot of things uncomfortable. And that's what has happened. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay. You remember this guy? How many of you know Bitcoin? Bitcoin, crypto. How many of you invested in Bitcoin? We did, I lost money. So. Right. So Sam Bankman-Fried was called a genius. He was called a genius because he invented a Bitcoin exchange, and he was like, oh, next Elon Musk and the Bitcoin. In fact, he had investor meeting and he was playing in the computer game apparently, and he was called cool. You know, the cool vibes, the same Bangalore, Chennai vibes, the cool vibes. You know, IIT cool, IIM cool, the same vibes he had. Okay, and he managed to open up a Bitcoin tech exchange. And basically, he did fraud and he's also in prison. Okay, so what I'm trying to tell you here is that let's take these examples as a framework. Of course, not everyone ends up in prison innovating. Okay, but let's just see beyond the hype and let's ensure that whatever strategy you are coming with is grounded in reality. We don't overpromise, we don't underdeliver, and most importantly, we see the truth. When other people are seeing Edison and Musk, you should see stock prices. When Sundar Pichai is delivering a keynote address, you should see the stock price next day. And then when Ambani is delivering the address, you should see the stock price next day. And that's what you should be doing. Okay, and that's where strategy, thought, and MBA brain comes. Clear? And this will help you go beyond and fight and be the warriors which we all aspire to. Next slide, please. Okay, that is this philosophy here in current startup market and ecosystem. Move fast, bake things, fake it till you make it. Okay? Builder AI, Elon Musk, Thomas Alva Edison, okay, Elizabeth Holmes, okay, bipolar factor. We are all guilty of this. We were faking it till we make it. Okay? You have heard about hardware, software. I'll introduce you one more ware. It's called vaporware. Okay, it's a very common thing. It was designed by HP, by the way. Okay, what is vaporware? Okay, vaporware is simply a concept where if I have a software product, for example, I go to Rupa ma'am and say, ma'am, I have a software product which will give attendance for all MBA students based on CCTV cameras. Okay, I pitch as if I have the real product. I show them demos, I show them the dashboard, etc. But only if she pays me in advance, I'll go and build the product. The product is non-existent. It's called vapor. It's called vaporware. It's very popular in the current AI world. A lot of products which people claim do not exist. It's all on vapor. And they will only they'll be testing the market first. So if ma'am says no, I'll not build the product. But if ma'am says yes, I'll go and build the product. So a lot of products like this exist only in vapor. Hardware, software, vapor. Okay. So be very, very careful how you understand things. And this also helps. So vaporware is nothing but we're doing market research using ma'am as a client example. That's what we are doing. So that is used smartly, very good. But what will happen is sometimes this vaporware will be pitched in the AGM and will help up the stock prices and eventually it will collapse. And then what will happen with current stock obsessed generation, because previous generation was investing in real estate and gold, but now we are in the stocks and bonds, etc. The whole market will collapse. So it will create another ripple effect. It's something you can have. Next slide, please. Okay. Now I want to show you, so I'm sure you will be learning about the supply chain graph and a lot of other graphs, but I want to show you one other important graph which often are used by mainstream industries and MBA students. Okay? This is called the Gartner Innovation Hype Cycle. So if you know a company called Gartner, they come up with this graph. It's called Innovation Hype Cycle. So what happens is whenever the innovation comes, okay, there is a technology trigger. It goes through one peak and then it falls down. Eventually, okay. Next slide, please. All right. So what will happen is usually there will be an R&D point here. There will be startup companies, first generation, mass media hype, and then it falls down. Okay, and then eventually it stables. Okay. Any startup, my startup, everyone's startup, Apple, iPhone, light bulb, fans, mics, everything went through the cycle. So there will be initial hype of the technology, and then the hype will die down. But eventually the hype will stabilize and we'll have stable products. Okay. Can anyone tell me what was before iPad? What was Apple's touch phone or touch product? Can anyone remember? Because for all of you, you can ask me a question. So iPhone didn't follow the cycle. When iPhone came, it was super hit. You know, iPhone just took off like that. Touch phone, etc. Didn't follow the cycle. So I'm just preempting you and asking you. Yes, iPhone didn't pass the cycle, but you have to understand before iPhone, Apple went through the cycle once. Can anyone remember anything about that? Okay, there's something called Apple Newton. It's called Apple Newton. You can just Google it. Basically, it's a predecessor of an iPhone. They were just using it to touch and send packs. Apple Newton. It's called Apple Newton. Okay. So iPhone also went through this category. Okay. You can all ask, sir, generative AI is not going through this category. Okay, I'll tell you the answer in the next slide. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. As of August 2023, Gartner, the popular company which came up with the cycle, has predicted these technologies to be in the hype cycle mode. Okay. So simply saying, generative AI is now at its peak. That means that AI hype cycle might burst any moment and it might come down. Okay, because the expectations are very, very high. Even now, I'll be talking about AI in your faculty meetings. Okay, the expectations for AI is very, 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 very high. Okay, but what I'm seeing in the industry is the expecting is not keeping up with the knowledge and other part. So there will be a bust coming soon. Okay. 2-3 years is my prediction and based on what I interact with. But some people think it will come sooner as well. Okay? But some people think it will be a smaller bust. You quickly utilize and will kind of stabilize. So what I'm telling you is hope for the best, plan for the worst. Yes, you're entering into an AI-driven world, and all these technologies are piling up. AI simulation, AI, SaaS, cloud on edge, etc. All of this are piling up. But there is a fall coming. That means there will be an expectation gap. Maybe while you're graduating, the AI bubble might have burst and it will be more practical for you to use AI. And let's use critical thinking to be more practical, of course. Let's not completely invest in AI and only do AI and then eventually understand the AI is going to bust and then close it out. Let's just diversify our knowledge resources and ensure that AI is used as a tool. But know your tool better. Be it a welding tool or a screwdriver tool or a computer tool, know the tool better so that you can use it well. So even if the bust happens, you're prepared for the AI bust and you're prepared for the real. Okay, that's something you have to understand. And it's very complicated. I know you'll have a lot of questions about the bust. A lot of governments are investing in AI, NVIDIA AI, etc. It's a very complicated situation. We don't know what will happen. The AI cycle bust, but we are prepared for it. That's what. Next slide, please. Okay, next. Right. So now I will tell you my story briefly about design thinking, etc. How I went through the cycle first, and then we'll take a small break and we'll come back for another interesting tool I will use for the mock test. Okay. So this is my company. Before Bipolar Factory, I had a company called Biomedical, Tested Home, etc. And we were funded by some of the major VCs and brands in India. Okay. And what my company does next? Okay, next please. Okay, what my company did was, I'll give you a small example. We all been through COVID test, right? The COVID test. What my company and I did was, we replaced the COVID test with this. Yes, a lollipop. Yes, a lollipop. Yes. So instead of poking your nose through those COVID test swabs, I invented a lollipop that could make the testing very, very easy. Okay. Next slide, please. So Tata funded my project, okay, and I got all the PR. So basically, I have created a lollipop like test device for COVID. Okay. Why you ask? My PhD is in biomechanics. I am an engineer by training. I understand muscles. I understand muscle movement. That's how I invented this device. It can help you with COVID, etc. Next slide, please. And this is a Hindu business line. All these amazing press coverage I had. Okay. So basically, of course, who would not like to have a lollipop rather than a nasal swab? That's less painful, exciting, etc. Next slide. So this is India Today, Times of India. Next. Next. Okay. So you saw what happened, right? I am the inventor of the lollipop for COVID, to be etc. I have a patent. Everything went very interesting, but my company is now with here. So basically, my company, we go back one slide. Yes. So what happened was, when my company started the whole R&D process, it was very good. But when we entered the market, the accuracy, right? You see, the sensitivity is where the accuracy is supposed to be. In lab, it was 100%, but in real world, it was 92%. Okay, and that means our funders were not interested after it, and now it is on shelf. Okay, but if you go back over time, but if you look at the hype I gave or hype we gave, India Today, Hindu, etc., we were posting as if it's going to be a next big thing. But in reality, when we entered the market, next slide, please. No, the reality stuck, and we really lost. Okay, there's a very popular saying by Mike Tyson. How many of you know Mike Tyson? So he's a boxer. It's a very popular saying which you should also remember. Okay, because in 2 years it will happen to you. He said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. So if you do boxing ring, you have a plan, a strategic alignment, business model, canvas, everything. But you get one punch in the face, all plans go by. Okay. Same thing happened to me. I had a wonderful product. Go back. Back, please. Back. Yeah. So I had a wonderful product supported by some of the biggest brands. National University of Singapore. I was a Block 71 alum. Antler funding me, Tata Trust funding me, etc. Okay, biggest thing. But when I entered the market, the punch is what I'm unable to fix. Go back one slide, please. Yes. And this is the reality of my startup. So as you could see here, it started off with R&D and technology trigger. I had a hype, and now I am falling down. And luckily, I had other businesses, so my fall is pushing. Okay. Now I am trying to stabilize it. Now I am working with R&D Institute of Medical Science to develop the product even better, so that it will be on the market. Okay. This is a live example of my journey, and this happens to every product. Every product, every innovation has to go through the same. Okay. So please, when you're reading a news article or a press release or about a technology, you clearly ask yourself in which cycle the product is. Go back one slide. Yes. In which cycle the product or the innovation really is. Because as MBA students and as strategic thinkers, let's not fall for the Samudragani PR or the PR are doing. Okay. Let's look at facts and figures, and let's look at this graph. Okay, and ask ourselves, where is this going? Okay, and where exactly is going? That means you will soon know whether the technology is going to fall down or it's going to take over and stabilize. And that's where your reading skills combine. If you read and you have up-to-date market reports, that will be very, very useful for you to understand the technology. Okay. By the way, I hope you know that you should read market reports more regularly. How many of you know about market reports? Okay, I mean, you're first year MBA students, but kindly go beyond Google. Don't just stick to Google, stick to market reports. I'm sure you'll have access to market reports library. You can stick to that, right? Okay. So quickly go. Yeah. So now we understood the peak and hype cycle, and now we are diversifying our products in our company. So this is our another company. So we are making HIV testing kits. We are making kids food allergy and rapid testing kits, etc. So basically, we are diversifying our ensure that we don't fall into that. Or even if there is a fall, right, we want multiple graphs so that there are multiple things will equalize for us in terms of revenue and etc. That's what we are doing. Okay, maybe we'll discuss it later. But next slide, please. Okay, this will be a typical cycle for your entrepreneurship, your project experience, and even if you go into a company, there's a term called intrapreneurship. How many of you know the term intrapreneurship? Intrapreneurs. Entrepreneurs? What do you think intrapreneurs are, sir?
I think an intrapreneur is a person who invents or invents a product in a company's development.
It's a very good definition. Yes, entrepreneurs are someone who takes responsibility for being an entrepreneur inside a company. For example, I have a company, and if someone comes and tells to me, Vivek sir, I will run this particular product line, I'll take all responsibility of market research, business intelligence, client research, user research, and then I'll run the thing. That's called intrapreneurs. In fact, intrapreneurs get allocated stakes in the company as well sometimes, most often. Okay, those are called intrapreneurs. Entrepreneurs inside a company or intrapreneurs. Okay? Gmail is an example of intrapreneurship. So Google had this wonderful intrapreneurship exercise where Google engineers were given some time to develop own products inside the company as their own startups. And Gmail was one such product where intrapreneurs came by. Okay? A lot of our products is also intrapreneurship where our associates and others came up with their own product and we increase that. That is something you should be ready for as well. Okay? Entrepreneurship also follows the cycle. So once you pass the proposal, the management will be excited, but if you don't deliver, there will be a big fall. The problem is it's easy to climb up, but the falling down is where you really get hurt. And a lot of startups companies